you haven't asked anything about music yet. Let me just say this. Before I joined the Mothers, which was a rock band, I never played rock and roll. I was purely a jazz musician. And I worked with some great people in the jazz world. I worked for 2 years with Elvin Jones, Tommy Flanagan, and Yusuf Lateef. Now, a lot of musicians would know those names. And Elvin Jones became John Coltrane's drummer. And like that. I mean, he was considered, he's dead now, but at one point he was considered the best drummer there was out there.
Oh, wow.
So that was my beginning. And I didn't play keyboards with him. I didn't play piano. I played bass because I was a bass player, at that time, and a piano player. But I decided I'd rather play bass with them than piano because I don't know why, actually. But I just walked up to the bass player and I said, "Can I sit in?" And he said, "Sure." So I sat in and started playing with them. And now Elvin was very particular and more than the other guys. And he would have kicked me off. They wouldn't have continued the song. They would have stopped playing and he'd get me off the stand. But I was a good player and I could do it. I could hold my ground with them at that point in my life, playing bass. Upright bass, of course.
Yeah. These were just like jazz jam sessions that you would go to and just join them?
Oh, well, that was in Detroit, see? And Detroit was a wonderful place because almost 70 days a week, any time of day, you could go somewhere and play music with people. Mm-hmm. And whether they were white or black, it didn't matter, although back in those days, it was either white or black. It didn't really mix too much. And I was good friends with Pepper Adams, who was a baritone player, one of the greatest ever. And we played a lot. And it was just an amazing place to be, if you're a musician. And so that's my learning, how I grew up, in playing with all those people. It's quite amazing.
That's beautiful, man. Amazing.
One story I have to tell you, and this is kind of pertinent to what we're talking about. At one point, John Coltrane came to play in Detroit, and I just happened to be living there because I'd already lived in Los Angeles. And that the guy called me up and said, "I've got some jobs for you. You have to come to Detroit." So I came to Detroit. And John Coltrane came in town and played, and Elvin was playing drums with him. And so I went over to Elvin and I said, "Gee, after the job ended, I said, geez, can I go talk to John Coltrane?" And he says, "Sure, just go talk to him, he's a person." So I went over and I said, "Hi, Mr. Coltrane." So I said hello. I said, "Look, do you realize that everyone considers you to be the person to listen to see what's going on, to see how they can play as good as you do?" "What? No. Shouldn't believe me." I said, "Yes." I said, "You are the person on tenor saxophone that is setting the benchmark for everyone in the world." And I said, "But you have been playing the same way since you started playing with Miles, and you haven't changed your style at all, and you're playing kind of the same type of stuff that you've
upside down
always been playing." I said, in history, if you notice, all the composers that were composing music, but all the way back to the 17th century, the next composer played something that was a little better than the last one, and then a little better than the last one, and a little better than the last one. And each composer developed the music ahead of, forward. And you're not doing that. You have to find new ways of playing in order to progress music the way it should be progressed. And then I left him with that. And then it wasn't long after that, maybe 3 months, his playing completely changed.
Oh, wow.
It was it just went out there. And I have to credit myself for that because
Yeah, definitely. I would.
You
wouldn't have
changed
done
him.
that. Okay. Of course, a lot of people hate me for that, but because they wanted the old Coltrane, you know.
Yeah.
Yo, Isaac,
But that's always been my philosophy in life, that music has to change, that it has to develop and progress. And that's why I play the way I do. And